Last week, Nick Nocturnal released a song with Odin 3 as well as our Sanguine bass. Now I have his MIDI file right here, and let's see what we can learn from it. Now let me quickly show you which settings I have Odin 3 on. We have the bridge modern because it's the most modern sounding pickup pattern. It gets rid of some of that mid honk that some people might not be into. As for playing, I think everything is default, and then into advanced, I've turned down the attack impact to 0.0 decibels. And then for tuning, I have it on 8-string double drop C. So this way everything on the neck right here should also display properly. Now for the MIDI, as always, these MIDIs are built out of 3 different sections. You have the notes that are actually being played right here in the middle. You have the articulation key switches at the bottom, and then you have the string selection key switches at the top. When you open the UI, you can see that as well. Right here at the top, you have the string selection modifiers, and at the bottom, you have the articulation key switches, and then here you have the playable range. Now there's not many key switches going on for articulations because a lot of this is just chugging and palm mutes, which can be fully done with velocities. We first have the intro riff right here. Now this is a very nasty sounding riff, very thal. It's not something I myself often listen to, so I'm not even very used to those disgusting bends, but it is quite cool. So that is another thing we might want to have a look at, and that's the pitch bend modulation. So if we click on pitch bend right here, you can see, a lot of bending is happening right here. So we can zoom in. The first notes, no bending obviously, we're just doing our low root note, but then these bends instantly here from the very first note right at the top and gradually down back to our 0, which is where no bending is happening. So then this note is once again being played unbent, and then right back to being bent from up to down. So throughout the whole song, we see a lot of bending going on. This is for those nasty bend up from downs. And then right here, when you have these notes like tremolo picked and then gradually moved up, that is also very nasty sounding. You can check it out here. Now getting rid of pitch bend modulation again, this is just all open picking, but then here we get our first palm mutes. So here you can see these first ones are around 30 velocity, so these are like the bloomy open palm mutes. And then these quicker ones here are at velocity 10, so these are going to be more the dead mutes. The slower ones, open bloomy, and then the shorter ones, more dead, more muted. Now then for this tremolo picking here, it seems we have another string selection key switch. So this is being played on the 8th string on purpose. But it looks like this first note is not available on the 8th string, so that's still being played on the 7th. But then this one, I'm guessing, is changing. We can get rid of this key switch to see what the difference would be. Oh yeah, that's very different. Okay, so this is definitely staying here. Basically, if this key switch is not there, this is being played on like the 6th string, which is a fair bit brighter. Again, you can check the difference. And that's just not something we're looking for here. You want that nice and warm tone. Now another thing to have a look at here is this pull-off. So we have pull-offs on some of the picking here to kill that pick attack, to make that run a little more realistic. I've shown this trick in the past tutorials as well. Now we get into just all chugging. So right here you can once again see that we have the slower chugs on these like bloomy around 30, or in this case 28, but that's fine, it's still close to 30. While the shorter ones are on 14, which is still going to be closer to a dead tight mute. Now again, you have this bend here, but it's not bending quite that much. So if you want that bend to be higher, again, it's very possible that Nick actually had Odin 3 at a way more aggressive bend range here when making this song. So maybe it's like bend intensity, I don't know, 5 or something. Let's see what kind of difference that makes. Okay, that's maybe a bit too much. Maybe we can try 3 or so. So it just depends what you're looking for. I mean, you can go absolutely crazy, put it on 9, and it will bend into something that the normal guitar wouldn't even be able to do. Yeah, that sounds ridiculous, of course. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I have it on 2, that's the default, but maybe he used something higher for the song. Now here at the end of the riff, we can see the bloomier palm mutes, and then for the quicker ones, we have 13, so that's closer to a dead mute. And then when silence happens, we see a tiny little palm mute articulation at, I guess, velocity 14 to imitate those release notes. So a very, very aggressive kind of muting. That's the kind of sound you will get when you have your right hand just slamming into that bridge to end the note from ringing out. Very important to keep in mind, of course, in a song like this, your guitar is spamming a lot of the same note. It's a lot of rhythmic stuff, and so the song is really being made by the effects surrounding that. When you listen to something like Sleep Token or the Doom soundtrack, there's a lot of synth work and atmosphere really building up, and your guitar is almost being played like a percussive element. So of course, when we listen to these few bars, it's not all that interesting, clearly. Nothing is happening. Now next we have the main riff coming back. And then we go a bit further. And now we have a new riff right here. Yo, that's disgusting. That is really cool sounding though as well. I mean, I call it disgusting, but that's the kind of stuff you will hear in that thal kind of sound. So we have some open notes, some chugging. Again, we have some variety in palm mutes here. Like right here, this is a bloomy palm mute, and then here we have the dead ones. And even some of the shorter ones are also being bloomy. So again, some variety. And then that super messed up kind of deathcore dissonant vibe. Now this sound I don't fully understand. I assume this is meant to be a kind of dissonant left hand muting the strings, just to have a disgusting percussive kind of thing going on here. I wonder if this could have maybe been done also with a bunch of dead notes. Like if you put these at maybe like 10 and made them longer. I don't know if this will sound good, of course. Ooh. There's something there. I don't know if this is like more realistic sounding maybe, but it's definitely less disgusting sounding. But maybe if you're going for that disgusting sound, then it is really what you wanted. If you love this vibe, of course. So we have the rest of the riff. And then we go right back into that same ending riff. The whole song, I feel like, is spamming this massive bend moment. And then we go into the outro. So overall, this was a really, really sick song, and I just quickly want to share some insights with you as far as like the MIDI programming side of it goes. It's definitely not the type of song I would be writing, but of course this shows you that Odin can really do anything. We've got Dance Gave in Dance covers on this channel. We have Sleep Token. We have Slipknot covers on this channel. We have 3 Days Grace. Then we've got Nick doing something crazy like this. And so Odin 3 can really do every single style out there. If there's a song you want me to cover next, of course, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to share everything Odin with you, and happy producing.